Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, as we approach pre-registration for Aries Cup that'll be coming tomorrow, and the fact that I have now finished my aces for it, I thought now would be a good time to make my video kind of showcasing my aces and what I'm working with for this upcoming Champions meeting. And so with that, we'll just go ahead and get right into it. I will go ahead and pull them up. I think the first one will be fairly obvious. Most people are building her if you have her because of her consistency of being able to get speed, carryover, and acceleration. And that's going to be Christmas Oguri Cap. Now, I have two variations of her that I have made. Now, I absolutely do not like running Christmas Oguri Cap in Track Laser. She's just kind of felt very clunky for me, especially on the early on, because her ult doesn't work until you're able to get 3 heals off. And so you're wasting a lot of your skill points just getting her up and online so she can have an easier time at winning the races, because without it, it can just be a pain in the butt. It's kind of the same problem you have with Kita-san Black with the miles, trying to build her for Pisces Cup. I've had the same issues with Oguri Cap. It's going to be even worse when we do the Champions meetings here. I think it's the 3rd medium we'll have during Track Blazer, where she's very strong as an end closer, which will be even worse with her getting blocked like crazy with like end closers do. But I've built 2 of them. The first one ended up only being S+ rank, primarily because her power was so much lower in that aspect. Got the medium S on it. This one pretty much was pretty good in the fact that we got the 4 recoveries, the U equals M2, corner recovery, hydrate, and 777s. That's the standard one you're looking at. I was actually able to finish all of the chains, got killer tunes, no stopping me, speed star, and professor of curvature. Got some mid-game, not as strong as I'd like. I would really like a stronger mid-game on this one. Have Shrewd Step is just kind of a random one I picked from potential to give some acceleration early on. Not as good as, say, having a groundwork activation. But we have no speed bonuses on this one, but we do have max speed with the medium S. Now when we go to the deck that I kind of used here, in this one I was trying out the Yukino Bijin card. The only card I decided not to use my selectors to get a copy of her, so I had to borrow her for this scenario. And in this one, it is a very whaley deck. As you can see, I use my selectors to take El Condor Pasta up to limit break 3 so I can have easier access to killer tunes. And of course, I've got my Fine Motion, Nice Nature, Kita-san Black, and Biko Pegasus going in there with the obvious 2 parents that a lot of people are using for her to get the extra heal alongside some extra speed to finish off the race pretty strong. Although this one, as you can see, I didn't do as many races, a lot more training than races because I had a lot of big wit hits, which is how I was able to get the stats as high as I did, even though power's not that good. But this one I most likely will not be using because I did end up trying to build another one further on, and that's this one. This one came out a little bit better in the stats. I did not max speed on this one, but in this deck, instead of borrowing Yukino, I instead went with the NTR card and then went triple wit with a Marvelous Sunday here alongside Fine Motion and Nice Nature. Then we, of course, have El Condor Pasa for killer tunes and some Black. This one I was able to max power, even though I had a single power card. Stats came out a lot better. One problem, this one I did not get Speed Star from Fine Motion. Of all the gold, it's kind of the one that I'm kind of willing to accept not getting. But we did get Ramp Up on this one. We did get our Nimble Navigator since I didn't bring Yukino on this one. We have that for our potential Gamble Acceleration, Killer Tunes, Professor of Curvature, Form Course Menace. So with that alongside max power kind of helps out with the extra power there. And it makes up for the missing speed that I don't have. But it's still a lot of what I'm seeing on a lot of other Christmas Oguri Caps that other people have is they have right-handed, they have Firm Course Menace, and all those do help them, especially when they're pairing them with Dominators, which you're going to see I decided to go away from the debuffer route, and I went with full 3 true aces. That worked pretty decently all right. Don't get as many wins as I'd like in room matches, but that's just the nature of this CM. It's felt very random with how consistent you can have your Christmas Oguri Cap, as well as now having even stronger late surgers with an extra gamble that they have. Major Dober's really strong here, with her being able to activate at a good time. So it's definitely a little bit more random when you play against stronger Umas versus building the meta ones. I did not get corner recovery on this one, so I had to accept soft step. It's been consistent enough that I am willing to work with it. This one, of course, has pace tracer, corners, medium straightaways, ramp up. It's still really weak on the mid game. That's the biggest negative I've had with my Christmas Oguri cap is the mid game. But getting a run, like I've done a lot of runs on her trying to get something better, and it's just been terrible. But she works. She gets the job done. She can win if she pops off. It's basically whichever Christmas Oguri cap is the farthest ahead wins most of the time, unless I go up against like a quad dominator room where both my opponents both have dominators and they just completely shut mine down and there's accelerates past her. She does okay. But the other two aces I have, and these actually I feel like from just the room matches I've done, have won more than my Christmas Oguri cap. And that's going to be my two front runners. So the first one, I've built two of her. First attempt, so Seiun Sky, being the strongest one with the strongest acceleration as a front runner to really have the strongest chance. This is the first one I have here. Of course, we got the medium S. Now, we do have a green here that's useless. I had nothing else to use the skill points on. You can kind of just ignore it. I just kind of threw it there in case I got a parent out of it. Seiun Skies has got enough stamina, decent enough wit. Not max speed, but almost there, and pretty high power. Have a lot of good mid-game. I'm really, really strong mid-game, having the dodging danger, ignited spirit wit combo. We have leader's pride, tail held high, of course. Front runner corners, medium corners, all the straightaways. Killer tunes, we have early lead. Sadly, she decided to not. Mihono Bourbon decided not to finish her chain. So we only have early lead, have ramp up. She does all right. And with her deck, this one was bringing Yukino Bijin to try and get those extra hints early on to get some big discounts. Get playtimes over, which I think was another problem on this one. I did not get playtimes over, so she didn't finish her chain either alongside Mihono Bourbon. But mostly the same kind of deck here, other than replacing Fine Motion with Mihono Bourbon. But we have my other Seiun Sky, and this is probably the one I'll go with. Even though she's a little bit slower on the speed side of things. This one I feel like has the stronger mid-game, stronger random gamble potential. And that is because we did get taking the lead on her. We still have ramp up. We have double circle on medium corners, straightaways, front runner straightaways. We actually got playtimes over on this one, and then Radiant Star is on here. Plus, of course, I forgot, I also have the Inherits with the parents. Summer Maruzensky and Mihono Bourbon to give her some extra little mid-game there. Does pretty decently well if everything pops off. And just from testing, she has definitely been the strongest of the two. But I might try out both of them in it. But the big thing is yesterday, I did work on my Mihono Bourbon. I worked on her a little bit before, and I finally got one. And she's definitely the strongest of my aces in terms of what I got. Man, I am not liking Trackblazer with having to constantly repeat runs to try and get that medium S. Somehow on this one, I pulled off a medium and turf S. And this was on the second inspiration because this one had a very, very, very strong early start on the stats. So even though I didn't get a good first inspiration, I continued the run because my speed was already almost 800 before first summer or something crazy like that. And everything was looking really, really good on her. And then we just lucked out into a medium S and turf S in the end. The biggest negative on her is we did not get dodging danger. I had both ignited wit and prudent positioning, but I did not get dodging danger from the hints from the races or inspiration. But I got mostly everything else on her. We have max power with firm conditions and turf S. So very strong there. I took Spring Runner to bring her speed above. There we have Professor of Curvature, Concentration, Escaped Artist, and Killer Tunes as our main golds. Really, really strong. So she comes out of the gate strong pretty much every time. Of course, she can't get taking the lead because I'm not willing to ever use that Twin Turbo Speed card to try and gamble my way to it. There's already enough gambling in this game on inspirations and whatnot. So only early lead, but we do have front runner corners, medium corners. We couldn't double circle this. No matter how I tried to mess around with it, I could drop firm conditions. I couldn't get it. It was really tricky on that last hit. We had to accept one there. And the main reason was we dropped front runner corners to take a Kiss from Courage, which is another mid-game skill, basically. We get the heal off from her ult. So pretty consistent on this one. And so that was the trade-off for double circle front runner corners. We got Leader's Pride, we got playtimes over, we got Slipstream, which is pretty nice if he's behind to try and catch up. Tail held high. So, overall, it came out pretty well. And And yeah, she's done quite well in the runs. Not having, now she has angling and scheming, but since she is not Seiun Sky, a little bit weaker in terms she needs to have that large gap, which she generally does. If she gets herself out in the lead early on and she just starts popping all of her skills, she does push the distance when she has other front runners with her to be able to win against the Christmas Oguri caps and the late surgers and whatnot. But still, if they pop off, they still can fly by her. If I go into rooms with heavy dominators, I mean, they just completely shut down my aces. That's just the gamble you're going in with. I like to have 3 aces versus putting all my eggs in one basket on 1 ace with 2 debuffers. Even though it's very strong, it's not, to me, going to be as consistent against the real champions meeting opponents, where if I just have a bad wit check on Oguri Cap for some reason, you just outright lose if she's the only one you have. Where against the slightly weaker opponents in champions meetings, I'm hoping that just having 3 strong aces should get me that higher chance and probability to win the finals. We'll have to see. I mean, it's all a gamble. Realistically, if I go into the finals and it has 2 dominate, or both people have 2 dominators and Christmas Oguri Cap, I'm probably going to lose because they're just going to completely shut down my speed and they will just pass me through that. But if they go with 3 aces, or they maybe go with stamina debuffers or whatnot, and then I will have the higher chance of winning just because I have 3 strong aces, and one of them should be able to beat out the other aces in that sense, since they're more on an even playing field. But that is my aces going into Aries Cup. I've been heavily working on parents. That is what I actually really like with Trackblazer, is parent making. I hate it for making aces, as you've probably seen if you've seen me on stream. But I am prepping myself up for going into the next champions meeting, which is going to be our Taurus Cup repeat. Basically exactly the same race that we had for our first champions meeting, but a lot more options. And so right now I'm currently working on the parents for that, / eventually the aces. But that'll be it for now for this video. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.